Hey everybody, welcome back to Journey with the Jays. I'm Jason Gallashaw from the Sideline Russ, and that is Jake from
Journey with the Jays.
John,
from Perch Sports Talk.
and lastly we have Joe.
The program on the Believe
All right,
Network.
guys, let's get straight into the action. Jake, what do you have for us?
We got a lot of NHL news. We got some advances this week. So we've had the Avalanche, Bruins, Lightning, and Vegas Golden Knights all advanced this week. I got to tell you, of all those teams, I think the Avalanche impressed me the most. Back-to-back games, 7 goals. I mean, talk about dominance, am I right? I mean, that was unbelievable. Golden Knights, I'm not surprised. And right now we got Caps Islanders going on. And I got to tell you, I would say, for me at least, they're I don't want to say my surprise team, but they're a team that has come out and really looked unbelievable. I know, JB, you're an Isles fan. I'm sure you got to be happy right now. They look awesome.
They're playing good hockey, and against the Capitals, who's a tough team, and you can't be upset with that. I think they have a shot to do some exciting things, if not this year, in the years to come.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're defensively, I think that's their biggest thing. They've held the Caps under 30 shots in multiple games. I mean, that's very impressive for a team that's as high caliber as the Caps are. I think they've been great. And I think one of the best offseason moves that nobody really seems to talk about was the fact that the Islanders signed Barry Trotz. That was, if you ask me, one of the best coaching signings I've ever seen, because you get him off of a championship win like that. He is riding hot. He was got his team playing great hockey. It was a very smart move, and obviously the Islanders are picking up where the Caps left off with Barry Trotz. He's picking up right there with the Islanders. Canadians and Flyers, we got Game 6 tomorrow. I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised that Philly is not playing as well as I would have hoped. They're letting the Canadians in this series, and I want to get your thoughts about this, but I actually think the Canadians might have a chance with the way they're playing. What do you guys think?
Canadians are a good team, but they're not in the same class as the Flyers. They're just playing good hockey right now, and the Flyers are having trouble putting them away. John?
Yeah, the thing that separates the Canadians from the Flyers is that the Canadians have better goaltending. I know Carter Hart had his back-to-back shutouts, but he's still just a rookie, and Carey Price has been there before. So I know the Flyers are the number 1 seed, but the Canadians have the advantage in that respect, and the Flyers always choke. So I'm kind of expecting the Flyers to continue to melt down and lose this series. It would be a Flyers thing to do. I've seen it year in and year out. I'm waiting for it to happen.
I think the Flyers they may get it right this year. Who knows? The Canadian they may not have it. I think coming in as number 1 seed, they definitely have a lot to prove, given they're fair in recent years. So I got the Flyers taking it.
What about Caps and Isles tonight? I know Islanders are winning as we speak. What do you guys think about their chances in the playoffs overall? Not just in this series, but just moving forward. Do you think they are a team to really look out for and look for as a potential champion this year?
So it's tough.
I mean, they're doing a good run. No, go, Joe.
Sorry about that, Jason. It's tough. You have teams like Boston who lost Tuukka, so they're kind of down, although their backup is doing a great job. And I think the Islanders have a decent shot. I don't know if they'll beat anybody out west. I think the West is still a little bit better when it's all said and done. But, I think that they have a shot to come out of the East.
Yeah,
John,
definitely.
Sorry, Jason, you can go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, like he just said, the West is better. They're doing good right now, but championship, nah, we can forget that. I'm just gonna leave that at that. I think John agreed with me, man. He has a lot to say. What do you guys?
John's got something to say right now. Let's hear it, John.
All right, so let's move on.
There's no way the Islanders are getting past the Lightning. There's no way. I would imagine the Islanders and Lightning end up playing, and there's just no way that I see that happening. The Lightning are way too good. No offense to the Islanders, but they're not even in the same class. Like Joe had mentioned, the Canadians aren't in the same class as the Flyers. the Lightning are hands down way better than the Islanders, and if they play, it's going to show.
But now you're talking about hockey, where a hot goaltender could change everything. The Isles are scoring like they didn't all season. And, the Tampa Bay has a history of choking in the playoffs, as you just said about the Flyers. So I don't know.
Remember, the Islanders, I believe they got to this point last year. They rolled right through the first round, and I think they ended up playing the Carolina Hurricanes, and they got swept. So we saw this.
We're not going to talk about that.
We saw this last year with the Islanders.
We're not going to talk Hurricanes.
No, I don't know. I think I've been watching enough hockey, and I honestly think the Islanders. I'm with JB on this one. I think the Islanders are playing really good hockey. They look defensively very sound. Offensively, they're making some really beautifully crisp passes right now. I think the Lightning are playing well, but I don't think they're playing their best. I think they look okay, but they're not great right now. And I think just from a standpoint of who's hot and who's not, I would really say that the Islanders would have that advantage of just being hot. Not saying that they're the better team, because I do agree with you, John, excuse me. I agree that overall, I would say the Lightning are generally a better team. But I think right now they're missing Stamkos. I don't think they're playing their best hockey that they can. And I think the Islanders are playing at that level where they're catching lightning in a bottle, so to speak. And I hate to say lightning, but but they're playing at that level of like intensity, and they want it, and you can see it. And I'm not saying that the Lightning don't, but I don't think that they're at that level right now. And it's very possible that in the next round, if they win, and let's say they have a matchup against the Islanders at some point, right? Maybe they do get to that level of intensity. It's totally possible, and I will never count that out. But I think if I looked at them right now, I'd choose Islanders just because of how purely hot. I mean, today they look great. Again, the Caps are getting nothing. I mean, Caps are getting totally shut down. I mean, Ovechkin's one of the best players we've probably ever seen. I don't think I've seen him do anything in this entire series. He's been what feels like non-existent. Their defense is great, and their offense is, like I said before, they're passing the puck really well. So I think right now they're the hot team to watch, and I think they got a shot for sure. One last thing, I want to get your opinions. Blues Canucks. Last night, I don't know if anybody watched, but the Canucks scored, I believe it was 3 unanswered goals to go up 4-3 in the game and go up 3-2 in the series. Who do we see coming out of that series?
So I definitely think the Blues are going to still come back and win it, but they're not the same team that they were that, won the cup. It's tough when you're the champion, it's tough to come back because everybody's coming after you. They're going to give you your best shot. As a Yankee fan, when everybody plays the Yankees, they play their toughest. So it's the same thing with the Blues. I'm sure playing in the bubble, it's not easy, and it's just a tough situation. But I think they'll end up beating the Canucks.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Always once you win a championship, it's hard to repeat. We see teams rarely do it, but you can kind of say they've been it before. So you can use that as their advantage to say they know what it takes to overcome that. So who knows? I always like, repeating champions. I feel like they have what it takes, but it's very strange, doing it in this bubble. Honestly, I don't think they can do it, but who knows? Like I said, they have that experience.
John, any thoughts?
No, I agree, but I don't think it'll matter. I think that the Avalanche are just too fast. They have really good goaltending. I just don't see anybody stopping the Avalanche in the West. They kind of remind me of that late 90s Avalanche team that used to go up against the Red Wings. They kind of remind me of that. They hit you, and they're super fast, and they score at will, and they got great goaltending. That's what they remind me of. And I just don't see anybody, at least in the West, slowing them down.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think the Blues are going to pull that out. I think the Canucks are too young right now. They're trying to learn the ropes. So I think that's their biggest disadvantage. They're a very good team, I got to tell you. They looked great last night. I just don't think that they have the experience yet. But I do agree. I think between the Golden Knights and the Avalanche, that's it. That's all. They're the only people from the West that are going to actually matter in the end. One last thing. Islanders just scored empty netter. It's 3-0 with less than 2 minutes in period. So I think we can all say bye-bye, Caps.
Bye-bye, Caps.
Yeah, they're done.
Wow. Adios. So
right.
let's let's go over to basketball, the other sport that's in the playoffs. The game ones, we had the Lakers lose. We had the Bucks lose. Then the Clippers lost game 2, so we're 1-1. I'm a little confused here. What's happening with the bubble? Is it the home court advantage that makes that much of a difference, that these teams are great? Now they're all playing at the same place. What do we think?
First of all, we're not going to talk about the Heat being up 2-0. We're not going to give love there. None of those other teams matter. The Heat are up 2-0. Come on.
The Heat. Well, who cares about the Heat? Who the Heat playing?
Hey, shut down T.J. Warren. T.J. Warren, we got rid of him. He's nothing.
Hey, T.J. Warren's my guy. He's North Carolina native, so don't disrespect a North Carolina native, man. T.J. Warren, he's been going off, but hey, Jimmy Butler's been answering him ever since a little scuffle at the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna lie, that he's looking good so far. But then again, that's just the Pacers. Like, come on, that's the Pacers. Let's be honest, they're good on a rise, but this is the Pacers.
They're not a team for this year.
It's not the Celtics. It's not Milwaukee's. It's the Pacers. So, I expect a 2-0, 2-1. I expect a 4-2 finish series.
Yeah, I see. He just. I don't see that going very far for the Pacers. I mean, yeah, they're up 2-0, but they got Jimmy Butler, who is obviously, we know he's very talented. The Pacers are young, like you just said, Jason. They're young. They're not ready yet. It happens. So, I mean, they're beating up on a team that's basically just not ready to be at that caliber yet. So it happens. But hey, good for the Heat.
Definitely. And speaking of 2-0, can the Blazers 2-0 the Lakers? Like I said, it's Dame time. Like, we can't exempt his performance that he had this past weekend. So I don't know. He's been on a roll. I don't even have to just put emphasis on that because I'm pretty sure you guys have been watching the highlights of seeing him. He beat the Lakers. So what's your take on this? I'm going to start with John.
I mean, it's just one game. I'm excited about it because I want to see the Lakers upset. But as we saw today, the Magic got crushed by the Bucks, so the Bucks came back even that series. So it's let's slow your roll, see what happens. If they go up 2-0, then we're talking. But like I said, as you saw with the Magic today, boom, even series, and now the Bucks have all the momentum. So I'm not making a big deal until it's like 2-0 or maybe even 3-0.
So I'm going to disappoint you now. They're down 22 at the start of the third quarter, 2.5 minutes in. Unless Dame all of a sudden goes on fire, there's not 2-0. This is the same thing the Bucks did. There was only two outcomes tonight.
Oh,
either they were going to win a close game or get blown out, because the Lakers were embarrassed the other night. They're the number 1 seed. That's not supposed to happen to them. So what happens tonight? They come out and they play tough, and it's a different game. And the same thing with the Buck game this afternoon against Orlando. Both the 8 seeds are decent. I mean, Portland's the better of the 2 8 seeds, but you can't really, if you're going to win game 1, game 2, you either have to play your best game, better than game 1 to be in it, because that 1 seed is going to come out like fire, or you're going to lose.
Because
what do you think, Jake?
Honestly,
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, honestly, if you're an 8 seed, every win that the 1 seed gets, it feels like 2 wins because they're that much better than you. Obviously, they're the 1 seed. So every win you get, if they get a win, it feels like they just got 2 on you. That's how, like Joe said, that's how great you have to play every game just to beat a number. That's why they're the number 1 seed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, JB, you said it. The Lakers are up by over 20 right now. They're upset. They lost. It happens. You're not going to win every game. That's the truth of this. It happens. I'm not taking anything from Dame because I think he's been playing unbelievable. He's not going to be dropping 60 points every single night. It's just not going to happen. So is he going to have good games? Yeah. Do I think the Blazers are going to win that series? Not in a million years. I think AD and LeBron end up crushing them. But I think 1 game, 2 games is realistic for them to win. I don't see more than that, though. I mean, look, Dame is playing great. We said it before. He's been absolutely on fire. But there's no way he's going to carry that team to 4 games over the Lakers.
I've seen – sorry to interrupt you, Jake, but watching the Lakers, and I've seen them a decent amount this year, they fall in love with the three-pointer And when they're up 5, 6, 7 points where the game can swing, they don't have guys that can hit the three. And all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4 wasted possessions, they start losing games. So, the Blazers are a good team. Dame can shoot from anywhere. McCollum's good. They got Carmelo.
Forget him.
It's not going to be such an easy series. I could see it going 6 or 7, and it wouldn't completely shock me if they found a way to win. I don't see it happening, but out of an 8 seed, I would say they have like a good 10% chance.
They have the best
definitely, maybe even 20%. Like I said, they got Carmelo Anthony, CJ, and of course, Dame himself. So it's not just a sweep under the rug like they're playing like the Pacers or even Magic, like we just alluded to. So definitely, like Jon said, maybe 6 games, 7. I'd be like, okay, but then everybody's gonna look at the Lakers like, really? It took you guys 7 games to beat the 8th seed? Question mark right there. But definitely maybe 6 games. We gotta, put some respect on those guys. But at the end of the day, do we expect an upset? No, that's not the reason why LeBron came to the Lakers. That's not the reason why he legally recruited AD to the Lakers. That's not the reason. So I don't have them winning that series. Like right now, I'm looking at the scores. What, 63-41, third quarter?
It's ugly.
It's about to be 1-1 after tonight. So definitely, Dame's performance has been so entertaining, and I think he's going to be the NBA MVP, if you will. Heck, he even got my vote, if we're being honest. But as far as the Blazers winning the series, I'm sorry. And with that being said, once or if, we give anybody a fair chance. So once and if the Blazers lose the series, do you guys think that Dame Lillard and CJ should stay split out? I know me and John briefly talked about this episode. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Jake.
I don't see it happening for now. I think the success that they're having right now might be a motivating factor to stay together. Look, they're playing well. And we were saying before, I think 6 games is realistic. I definitely think that's possible. Like I said, I think we'll go 4-2 Lakers. I think that's a realistic score. But the way that Dame is playing, I think the way that team is playing as a whole really is maybe going to be a motivating factor. Let's keep this team together, get maybe that one extra player. Maybe they get that X factor player. They just need one more to really help push them over the edge. That might be enough. They could be a very
I told you guys it's 3. In this league, you need 3. You need.
They have
totally happen.
They have 3 though. If I'm sorry, they have 3 if Nurkic stays healthy. He missed almost the whole season. Now he came back, and they were 6-2 with the bubble. They won game 1, so he changes the whole dynamic of the team if he can stay healthy.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about something I was paying attention to the lottery. Joe, you were telling me who got the number 1 pick, and I was looking on Twitter, and somebody posted something interesting about the Warriors. Since the Warriors got the number 2 pick, they said, what if the Warriors package the number 2 pick and Andrew Wiggins and get a superstar like Giannis in return? What if because I've been hearing rumblings that Giannis could end up going to the Warriors, and now that the Warriors have the number 2 pick, that very well, I mean, they did it with Kevin Durant, and
I'm glad you
need 3.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So here's the point. Of course, this is kind of a stretch, but I feel like if Giannis would join the Golden State Warriors, it would be the same situation as Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. Now, of course, he's not gonna, say that he's not gonna lose to them like in a series and then join it. But he's obviously gonna need to be, with a really talented team just to win the chip. I mean, you got Klay Thomas, Draymond, and of course Steph Curry, who's arguably the greatest shooters that we've seen in this generation. So with him joining them, we feel like, okay, well, you couldn't done it without Steph Curry and Klay Thomas. It's going to be like that. Like KD, everyone's like, oh, KD, yeah, you got your ring, but you didn't do that without them. They're going to ignore that he was the Finals MVP. They're going to ignore his talent, his 36-point game stretch in the playoffs. They're going to say, hey, you need those super elite superstars. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you have all-stars, but you have elite. Those guys elite. I feel like a lot of people is going to, criticize him with that. But I want to see, can he handle that criticism? KD, he had it all year, but he don't care. It's KD. He can do what he wants. You think Giannis can handle that environment if he's being scrutinized every day?
I don't know.
Being a villain, pretty much. Being a villain. Because right now we look at Giannis, the good guy. We gave him the underdog story, or he was young and he put on some muscles. He had this incredible stories in the MVP, the Bucks saver. But now, villain, I don't know. Some superstars can't handle that. Some can and some do not care. Russell, he don't care about anything. KD don't care about anything. It's LeBron, even it was affecting LeBron before, but he took it, with the Heat. But Giannis, can he handle it? I don't know.
Oh, hold on. KD is the softest superstar in NBA history. So let's not say he can't handle it. He created a burner account. He created a burner account on Twitter. He's the softest superstar I've ever seen in NBA history.
Do you think he's the only one that's done that, or you think he's the only one that got caught?
But we're talking about
he's the only one
KD.
that got caught, for sure.
Exactly.
JP, he's the only one that got caught. They all have it. He's the only one that got caught.
So I have no problem with that. He just got caught.
Yeah.
But he left Golden State because he couldn't handle everybody talking. He couldn't handle everybody talking bad about him. Same thing with LeBron. He couldn't handle everybody.
Actually,
he couldn't handle being the bad guy, so he left Miami. He left a perfect situation to go back to Cleveland. He should have never left because everybody talked bad about him.
I think, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I think KD left because he didn't. How can I say this? He wasn't fond to everyone saying that, not necessarily critiquing him because he knew he was going to get that anyway. But that joining the Warriors, that was Steph Curry's team. It's not KD team anymore. I think he like when LeBron with the Cavaliers, KD won it.
You're cutting out. I can't catch you. You're cutting out. The Zoom is cutting out a little bit.
Oh, you're good. I was saying that. What did I say? Yeah, why he left also is because he wanted the Warriors to be his team. Everyone's saying, just like Kyrie Irving requested a trade when LeBron was on the cap, he wanted to be his team. He wanted to be that guy. So if, going back to our main point, if Giannis would join the Warriors, this is not Giannis' team anymore. This is still Steph Curry's team. I don't care who joins the team. It's going to be Steph Curry's team. So let that be known. The thing is,
Steph Curry gave up leadership of that team to Durant. Dwayne Wade gave up leadership of the Heat to LeBron. These guys stepped out of the way so LeBron and Durant could be the leaders and could be the guy on the team. That's what guys like Curry and Dwayne Wade do. So I'm just saying, you had guys step out of the way so they could lead the team, and then both of them guys bolted from perfect situations. And LeBron bolted because he could not handle how tough Pat Riley was. And then he went back to Cleveland. He couldn't handle Pat Riley. Yeah,
are you kidding me?
Pat Riley. Yeah.
Where are you coming up with this? Where is this written?
You've never heard that he could not handle Pat Riley?
No. LeBron can handle Pat Riley.
No way.
He did everything he could. He did everything. What, 2 championships, right?
What more was he left to do with Miami? What did he have left?
He lost 2 championships. What? He was 2-2 in 4 years, including an embarrassing loss to the Mavs. Absolutely embarrassing loss.
I agree. That was pretty embarrassing their first year. Yeah, but I don't know, for you to say that he couldn't handle Pat Riley. I don't know.
No, could not.
Listen, I don't like LeBron.
Rumor alert.
But you are crazy to be tearing him down about this.
I know my Heat, man. I know my Heat. He could not handle Pat Riley. Not a lot of people can.
Wow. I can't even respond to this. Jake, help me here. I can't.
I just think it's silly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's nothing else to say. I just think it's silly. What more is there to say? He's LeBron James. Do I have to say more?
The second greatest basketball player of all time. So
no,
we're done.
We can move on right now.
We'll go on that another day.
We should move on. And still, and speaking of bringing another conversation another day, John, are you still open to having this conversation about loyalty in the league?
No, I'm going to say that for next week because we have a lot. There's a lot to get to for this week. There's still a lot of stuff for us to get to. And next week, I want to bring
Okay.
up that Carmelo Anthony is the Eli Manning of the NBA. Just saying, I want to throw that out there for next week. Eli Manning of the NBA.
Wow.
Elaborate. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Hold on, before I give you my reaction.
I'm just going to start by saying this and one thing only, because there's a huge thing you're missing. 2 championships. That's all I have to say.
Oh man.
Wow.
I'm just saying, the guy that everybody
Melo has
says is
nothing.
is a Hall of
Who?
Famer, and you're
There's
like on the
Yeah.
fence about.
Is he really elite?
Is he really?
No, it's
elite?
nothing on the fence about Carmelo.
Wow.
He's
John,
a
you're
Hall of-
scaring me, John.
Listen, listen. If Charles Barkley is a Hall of Famer, Carmelo Anthony is a Hall of Famer too. Okay, so what? No rings. Yes, I would love him to have rings, but dude, NBA scoring champion. You know, what Team USA as well, like multiple
But I don't
years,
count.
All
I don't
Stars,
count
maybe
your
like what 8
Olympic
times.
stuff
I have
for
to look it up.
NBA. I count NBA only. I don't count none of that other stuff.
Okay, so what counts for Charles Barkley
Charles
besides
Barkley's
the
one of the
MVP?
all-time greats. When I
Besides
look
the
at
MVP.
Carmelo Anthony. When I look at Carmelo Anthony, I look at a selfish player that took money.
All right, let's save this
for
for next week. Let's save this for next week.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting text from the guy next door. Here's John right now saying he went off the deep end.
I've felt this for a while. I think that he's always been an overrated player. He doesn't play defense. He's always been overrated, and
No, overrated is
everybody's
Gordon
afraid
Hayward.
to say it.
Gordon Hayward's always hurt, so how can we overrate him?
Can you stay healthy? No. But no, I think he's overrated because it's the same thing like I keep saying all the time with Kevin Love. So it's like, you know, you're on like a not a good team, with that being the Utah Jazz, of course you're going to shine. But when you go over with other talent, like when he had Kyrie Irving and that Jason Tatum, he's not getting the shine that he is. And I mean, he was getting paid what, $100 million just to sit on the bench last season.
Well, with him talking about Gordon Hayward, I'm not sure if he ever recovered from that, whatever that
The
injury
ankle.
was.
Yeah.
That first game, like with the team, and I don't think he ever recovered.
Well,
so
it takes a
never
year
really
to
got there.
it takes a year to come back from that. So
But
this year
that-
was just a wash anyway.
That injury was a different type of injury. Like you saw the thing roll the whole way around.
Yeah.
But that some players just don't recover from that.
So,
You know?
so you guys actually give him a break, basically?
Yeah.
The man's
I
playing on one
mean-
leg. Okay.
No, not everybody's AP. Not everybody's Adrian Peterson, where they can, recover from
Monster year.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that you mentioned that. And he still didn't win the MVP that year, right? Did it go to who won the MVP that year?
I don't remember.
But he should have won it. I'm
The
trying to
guy's
think.
insane.
Yeah, that was a crazy year. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, I hope he's not on PEDs. But yeah, he don't get enough credit for that. He don't get enough credit from that. Like that was monster like year. So yeah. But definitely let's I guess we could talk about the next topic because I have a call at 11, but we can MLB.
One other thing on the
I'm
NBA
sorry.
real quick. How about the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah.
How good did they look in the bubble? And what a shame that they didn't get to go to the playoffs. 8-0. And if you got to watch any of their games, the way they were moving the ball, they look by far the best team out there right now. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. You hit it on the head. Just moving the ball, facilitating around, getting everyone involved. Those look like the old San Antonio Spurs in terms of, getting everybody contributing to the game as much as ball touches. And, Booker, he was looking talented. He had his few 50 points game as well. And 8-0, that's a good exit to say leaving the bottle. Hey, we left undefeated. Not many guys can say that. Of course, they was fighting for that spot that the Blazers ultimately took, but they definitely look good, and thumbs up to them with their performance, and hopefully they can pick up next year. And if not, I agree, and this is rare. I agree with Draymond Green. Booker may have to leave. I know John is going to say something about that, but I think he has to leave if they can't continue to win. There's no point of having that much success if you can't win on it.
Yeah.
Players want to win.
Are we talking about Draymond Green should leave the Warriors, or are we talking
No,
about Booker should leave the Suns? No, Booker should stay. He clearly
Draymond,
took
he
the
actually was
money.
on NBA team.
What's that?
I was saying like no, I wasn't talking about Draymond Green. I was talking about his statement that he made.
I was gonna say, yeah, Booker should stay. It's nice to see that he wants to help turn that franchise around, because it's nice to see like the teams that don't do well potentially do well, because you want to see that in your sports. You don't want to see the same teams great every year and the same teams picking first and second every year. You want to see that turnover in whatever sport it is. That way there's something different. That way, every franchise has their moment at some point, and that franchise, every franchise has loyal fans, and you know how it is as a fan. You don't want to see your team always down. So I respect him for wanting to stay and try to turn around. That's what Matt Stafford, when he was drafted to the Lions, they asked him about going there after they had gone 0-16, and he said, "No, I want to be here. I want to help turn this franchise around." And I respect that. There's not a lot of players that come out with that type of mentality.
I know. I just think next year is going to be an exciting year in Phoenix if they can continue half of what they did this year, because that was unbelievable. But let's talk some baseball, John. What do we got going on there?
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about a couple weeks back. I think you had mentioned on the show that the Rays were, I had mentioned the Rays could be really good this year, and you kind of poo-pooed it and said, well, where are those Rays now? And, I was looking at it today, and the Rays were beating the Yankees, and yeah, the Yankees are banged up. The Rays won the game, and now they're leading the division. So from a couple weeks down in the dirt to leading the division, I'm just curious, like, how that crow tastes. I'm just curious, Joe.
Wow, it's like August 20th? Talk to me in October, and we'll see where how it tastes, because the Yankees are going to go pretty far. I mean, we need to lose about 10 other guys before we have to worry. So I'm not really too concerned. I mean, who? Go ahead, Jason.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, John, relax a little bit. The Rays are just 17-9. The Yankees are 16-9. Okay, it's not really a stretch right there. 1 game difference.
I'm just saying, Joe threw it at me when the Rays were. I think they were like, they were nothing a couple weeks ago, and it looked like they were going to be really bad. And he's like, "Oh, what happened to that prediction?" Well, I just figured I'd throw it back. And I mean, I don't like to brag about injuries, but kind of told you guys so about the Yankees, because Aaron Judge is always hurt.
You did.
He's hurt. Whole team is hurt. It's a one weakness of the Yankees is they cannot stay healthy, and it's showing again. I mean, they have a long way to go, but
that's why 28 is going to be so much better than 27 when we're done in October. And Garrett Cole wins, a bunch of games in October, and we hoist up number 28. We'll be okay.
You guys got to stay healthy first.
No, we don't.
Got to have a lineup.
Our bench can play for like half the other teams. Our bench could be a starting lineup for at least 10 major league teams right now. So I don't think we have to worry.
Yeah, I think you guys have lost 3 or 4 straight. I'm not sure, but
that happens. That happens. I'm not worried.
I'm waiting for Jake to respond. He hasn't said anything about his Yankees.
All I gotta say is Clint Frazier. Guy has filled in for Judge unbelievably. Unbelievable. He's currently batting .375. All right, we lost to the Rays. We lost 3 games. It happens. Okay. The Yankees are going to come back. And JB just said it. Our bench can play for most teams. When you see a guy batting .375, tell me what team wouldn't want him to start on his team. Name one team that wouldn't want a guy that's batting that much, has 2 home runs in, 4 games, 5 games? But we'll put a few games. Actually, 7 games. Okay. He's playing unbelievable. Mike Tauchman, another great player. Again, name a team that wouldn't want him.
I have no idea who that guy is.
Mike Hoffman? Would you like to hear some stats on how he's playing this season?
I'm just saying, I've never heard of Mike Talkman.
Again,
listen.
326 batting average. Again, playing great. I'm in no way worried about my Yankees at all.
Gotcha. Listen, I'm no stat guy, and like just like Jake. That's why I love him. He has all the stat about the baseball in NHL. But let's shed some light on San Diego. You know, we don't talk about them a lot. Just like Joe was saying, you know, Phoenix. It's great to see them with some noise. Let's talk about San Diego. They have what the Padres have 4 Grand Slam in 4 straight games. Let's give some noise about that because it's rare to talk some noise about San Diego. So, what's your thoughts about this, John?
Yeah. So, are we talking about the Grand Slams, or are we talking about the thing that
we're
Joe's
talking about the San Diego being the first team to have Grand Slams in 4 straight games. We're talking about that.
All right, I guess we'll start with that because one of the first Grand Slams was Fernando Tatis on a 3-0 pitch, and I personally have zero problems with that. I've seen teams come back from 10, 11 runs down to win a game. So you're never out of it, especially in baseball where there's no clock, and
right.
You have forever to come back until you get them 27 outs. There's no clock, so you don't got to worry about that. So I have no problem with him doing that. And not to mention, you know, each one of these guys is going up there and they're trying to help their team win, but they're also trying to get their stats for themselves, for a contract. So I completely understand it, and I had zero problems with it. I don't understand Chris Woodward, the Clown Rangers manager, saying what he said. I think that's absolutely Bush League. And then they throw at Manny right afterwards because their team's getting their ass kicked and they get the Grand Slam, and then they throw at a guy. That's Bush League.
That's expected. Yeah.
Listen,
John.
Listen, you could win by 1, but if you could tack on 100 more runs, you get every run you could get. There's no such thing as winning by too many. You know, a win's not a win. As long as you guys can stay healthy, don't do anything stupid to risk an injury, but keep scoring. There's never enough runs.
It's not Little League and it's not church softball. So there's no 10-run inning. There's none of that. This isn't Little League anymore, and it's not church softball that I play every spring. No, this is the big leagues. If you don't like it, stop it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the other thing that we haven't mentioned, but I do agree with everything that you said, it's his job. You're going to tell a guy not to do his job? If you don't want him to do his job, you know what you do? Pinch hit for him. That's it. If you don't want him to hit that home run, don't let him hit. If you put him out there, what are you going to say?
Walk him.
Right. What are you going to say? Don't swing. Don't do your job. Just take the strike because you don't want to make somebody upset. Grow up. This is what he gets paid to do day in and day out. That's silly to tell him, oh, don't swing at it because you're going to make someone upset. Screw that.
Let's not forget, not to jump in, but let's not forget that the same Ranger organization beat the Orioles 30-3. 30-3. And they didn't care about that, but yet they have the gall to talk about the score being run up on them. Just saying, you beat a team 30-3 years ago, my Orioles. You didn't have any problem then, so shut your mouth.
Wow, your Oreos. We're not even talk about them. Next.
I'm just saying, you know, and just saying.
All right, guys. Jake, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you're right. I can't argue with that. I mean, if you're gonna do it to someone else, be prepared to have it done to you. It's as simple as that.
And if you don't like the guy hitting the home run, throw strikes. Get him out. Or walk him. And then you don't have to worry. That's 1 run. Get over it.
So, Joe, I have my next topic that I wanted to talk about for baseball. I wanted to talk about this thing that they're doing with the Cardinals, these 7-inning doubleheaders. First of all, what is that? What do you think about that? Because this is insane.
Disgusting. It's stupidity, disgusting, not baseball. Let's start a runner at second base in the 10th inning. Next year, let's start the runner 3 feet from home. If he gets hit with the bat, he's out. What are we doing? This is not baseball. It's not Little League.
No.
You know? I don't know.
They're basically saying, here, score. All you have to do is hit 2 deep sack flies and you score a run. Do you understand how pathetic that is? They're basically saying,
Wow.
here, go fly out into deep center twice and you can win a game. How is that fair? I mean,
There's really no point for that one.
And the 7 innings, I can't stand. We talked about it, I think it was last week. The Yankees were in a game. They had every chance to win, but because it was a 7-inning game, because it was a doubleheader, they couldn't win. They scored, I think, like 4 runs in an inning. They had every chance in the world to win that game. It's not fair because if you get a team that, like the Yankees did, where they start to come back and they gain that momentum, and maybe they don't finish the comeback in that inning, they should have those 2 extra innings to give themselves a chance, because if they're down by 4 runs still, score 2 runs per inning. It's totally possible. It's not how baseball is meant to be played.
No.
So I have a question. How does this work then? If they're playing a 7-inning doubleheader, then they play another 7-inning doubleheader the next day. How do their pitchers get the 5-day rest? Their starting rotation. If you have Adam Wainwright, say just as an example, guy like that, how does he get a 5 days rest? If you're playing 7-inning headers and he pitches today and you play 2 of your 5 games, 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and 2 the next day, when are these pitchers ever going to rest for the Cardinals? How does that work? That's stupid. You're going to blow out somebody's arm doing that.
You're going to get multiple Tommy Johns on that team if this keeps up. Easily.
Just, it's bad.
It's dangerous. It's, forget that it's bad to watch and we don't like it. John, you just said it. I didn't even think about that until you said it. That's just dangerous. I mean, talk about player safety. What is that? You're right. I mean, you're asking for someone to get Tommy John. Seriously, you're asking for multiple guys. You can't even say, oh, we'll do a bullpen game. You're going to blow out your bullpen in the first, 3 games. I mean, they're going to get taxed too. Even if you do first game of the 4 games that you're going to have in the 2 days, right? So first game on, let's say, a Friday, and then you have another doubleheader Saturday. Your bullpen's going to be crushed by Saturday. Forget by the end of the first game. By the end of the day, forget it. They're going to be dead.
You got to hope these games don't go into extra innings as well, because if you have some crazy 15-inning game, and then you got to play the game right afterwards, what the hell is going to happen?
Yeah.
That's a very good point, which, again, didn't think about. But you do that. Let's say you play 15 innings, and then you play 7 innings again. You're playing more than 2 full games anyway. You're doing basically what the equivalent of 2 games plus extra innings anyway, which is what they're literally trying to avoid. Nightmare scenario for the MLB. I'm at a loss of words because it's so stupid. It is just, I don't even know what to say.
Not a fan. I don't like it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's all I got for baseball tonight. We are on to the NFL. So what you got for us?
Let's transition into the NFL. The X is back, you guys. Yes, I'm talking Dez Bryant, and no, not with the Dallas Cowboys and not with the Saints. He's working out with the Ravens. So what do you guys thoughts on that? The good connections with him and, Lamar, is that going to be a fit? Yay, nay? I'll start with you, Jake.
I think it could be a good fit. I think you take Lamar Jackson, who obviously had a career year last year. He was great. You take Hollywood Brown, who added, I believe he said 15 pounds or something like that in the offseason. He looks great. And he was a good player last year. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he was as great as he can be, but he's already a good player. That Ravens offense was explosive. If you add a guy like Dez Bryant, that's something I'd be scared of. I'm already scared of the Ravens. I'd be even more scared. That looks like a recipe for basically a guaranteed championship. If they stay healthy, they play at the level they played last year. If all things considered, all that happens, I don't see how they couldn't win a championship with that. I mean, that would be unbelievable for them.
Great move.
Definitely.
Great move. If you can get a receiver of that quality of Dez to go with the rest of what they have, those pieces, no brainer. Do it in a second. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's a good fit, but let's slow down, Jake and Joe. Dez Bryant is not the missing piece of the Ravens. Okay, this is, Dez Bryant. Like we're saying, yes, everything looks great on paper, but how he's going to handle, that relationship in the locker room. They already have that great team camaraderie just going on there, but we've seen Dez. Let's say he can wear his sleeves on his shoulder. We've seen him leaving the games in the fourth quarter. We've heard about his antics inside the locker room. Maybe he was changing with the Saints. Who knows? We never got the chance to see it because he tore his ACL. Maybe he's matured up. But how's he's going to act inside the locker room? That's my fit for me, because if that doesn't work, the whole season doesn't work. Is he's going to be another AB in the locker room? I don't know. So what do you think about this, John?
Yeah, I don't think, like, when they bring him in, say he signs, I don't think he or the Ravens have an expectation where he's going to be an all-pro receiver. I
Oh
think that
no.
the expectation would be that offense is unorthodox anyway, so they would use him in an unorthodox way. Obviously, they would use him in, say you put him in a tight end, a two tight end package. Mark Andrews on one side, and then you got Dez Bryant on the other side. So now the first linebacker, the better linebacker, has to cover Mark Andrews. Then your second linebacker has to cover Dez Bryant. I know he's lost a step because of injuries and age, but Dez Bryant can beat a linebacker, can beat the second linebacker easily. And not to mention, you help him, he can help these receivers in the room block, which is important because the Ravens are a run first team. So he can help bring that to the table. And yeah, that doesn't sound sexy, but with the way the Ravens offense is run, they're run first. So blocking is important. Not to mention when they go play action and they have a two tight end set. Do you really want Dez Bryant barreling down the field at you if you're a safety running free? You have to stop him. I don't care if he's lost a step or not. That's a big guy to have to
Yeah.
stop on a play action when he goes across the middle and he's free and you're a safety and you have to come down and stop him. I'm not saying he has to be all pro, but the Ravens are very, they do an unorthodox thing, the way they run their offense. So they have these gadgets and these different way of running an offense. And so they have ways to involve him where he doesn't have to be the focal point. He can just be, the way the Ravens do it is, Willie Snead picks up a first down. That's the way their offense runs is nobody has to be the guy. It's a team effort. And that's what I think that they're going to bring him into. And I think he knows, and he's at that age where he knows he's not going to be the guy anymore. So he wants to be a team player. Clearly you saw it on the scenes. He wanted to be a team guy. Unfortunately, the injury was devastating. So I think that it's a really good fit, and the Ravens are smart enough to know how to use him. They're not going to bring him in to be an all-pro. They're going to bring him in for what they want to do with running the ball.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we're going to expect that all-pro Dez Bryant, but I think they definitely brought him on. Well, if they sign him, he's going to be just like Jason Witten was with the Cowboys when he returned a couple years ago, 2 years actually. Just come in and third down situations and maybe just move the yards, come in and come out. Like, I don't think it's going to be fun for safety to see Dez Bryant, especially the way he's been working out this season. Of course, everybody looks good without wearing pads and whatnot. But I think he's definitely maybe contributed. And like I said, it could be pros and cons. You can say maybe he's going to be like a cancer inside the locker room, or maybe he's going to be, good because they have young receivers, so maybe he can teach us some things because he's a vet at the end of the day, injured or not, he's still a vet in the game, ultimately has a couple of success. And like you just said, John, a lot. Well, what's that actually? They're pretty much unorthodox. You're naming these wide receivers like holidays, but when I see the Ravens, all I see is tight end, and tight end. Their offense is just, a little weird. So maybe Dez Bryant can just spark something in to get the wide receivers involved more. So everybody needs that leadership. That's my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I Jason, you touched on the point I was just thinking about. I think more than anything, even if he's not at his best, he's still got the leadership quality for sure. He's an experienced guy. He has been to the playoffs. He's been in the league for a long time. He understands that, and he can mentor these young receivers like a guy like Hollywood Brown. He's second-year receiver. A guy like Dez Bryant, even if Dez Bryant doesn't play a lot, doesn't do all these wonderful things like I hope he does for that team, he brings a quality that you can't put a price tag on. Leadership and experience that you can't put a price tag on that. I think that's something that he would really bring that would be really great for, like I said, like a guy like Hollywood Brown, maybe Mark Andrews. It would be a lot of experience. Even Lamar Jackson, helping Lamar Jackson to become a better leader, even though he obviously already is a good leader, to help him become a better leader. He's going to bring that edge no matter what. So that, if they sign him, would be a really huge bonus for them for sure.
It's not about him being all pro, Des. It's about him giving them another option and the leadership qualities. It's pure and simple.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else got anything suggestions that they saw this weekend with the NFL? That's pretty much all I have for you.
Yeah, no, the NFL's been pretty quiet. I still wonder how they're going to get through everything without doing a bubble. I think baseball canceled another game today with COVID, John, right? The Mets-Miami game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, baseball's having all sorts of trouble. Go ahead, Jason.
It's so interesting because I don't think teams are really on the same page. Like, I don't think owners just sit down together because you have some teams that allow fans and some teams that don't allow fans. So the Cowboys allow their fans. That makes sense. They just want to get more money and stuff like that. And then some teams like the I'm not actually, maybe it was the Texans who canceled like fans. It's just really weird seeing how like teams are on the same page. They're just like college. The Big 12, they're not going to be playing, but the SEC is so playing. So it's, I don't know, it's very weird.
So what do you think? What do you think about the NFL potentially going to a bubble? They had mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and Philip Rivers brought up what happens if a player contracts COVID right before the playoffs. What do you do with that player?
Mm-hmm.
Do you put that player in the bubble, or is that player left out and they don't play in the playoffs? That was something that Philip Rivers had brought up apparently. So what do you guys think about the potential of a bubble, but just for the playoffs? They don't care about the regular season having a bubble. They only care about the playoffs. So do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think this can work? Like, what do you guys think?
See, it's quick. I'm sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
I think the only problem with it is how are they going to get through the regular season in the first place? I think that's the biggest hurdle they still have to get over. They can't get through the regular season. Who cares about the postseason? It doesn't matter if there's no regular season to get through the 16 games. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the teams playing. There can't be a postseason, and that's their biggest issue, and that's why I think they still need to try and figure out how the heck they're going to make this season happen. If they can get through the season, with that said, I do think that would be a great idea. I think it would be to their advantage. We've been saying it all along. The bubble is what they need. So any sort of bubble at any point would be a good idea. It would make sense to me. But again, you have to get through the regular season first.
I'm with you 100%. I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Jake. Like, let's get to the basics. Can we last these 16 games before we talk about the playoffs? And it's questions like that with that Philip Rivers just answered. Like, what's going to happen to that one player? Let's say, Lord forbid, Drew Brees and Tom Brady get the virus. So, like, and we're like coming to the playoffs. Like, how that's going to obviously affect the teams. Who has the better backup quarterback now? Like, that's going to play a huge factor. So, I said a couple of weeks ago that the NFL originally threw the bubble idea out the window, but it can possibly come back around. Who knows? But it's not looking too good right now. And that's all I have to say about that. That's just what the numbers saying.
I'm completely with you, Jason, Jake. I don't see how we get to the playoffs. We got to go 16 weeks. Baseball can't get through anything right now with their teams. Now we have another team with the Mets have guys that have tested positive. How is football going to do this with triple the guys on the roster? It's not going to happen, And I don't know. It's just a waste of time.
And speaking of wasted time, possibly, and I don't mean to cut you off. We saw what the MLB did, cutting their season short. Of course, the NBA just did a restart. What do you guys think about the NFL having a short season? Let's say even 8 games. What are you guys' thoughts on that? A lot of teams go 8-8 right now, so we're going to be a lot of 8-0 teams possibly.
Well, like I said before, like I said a couple weeks ago, you can push the season back. You can go all the way through February, and you can go into March even if you want to. If you have to, like, you can go there because the NFL's off season is so far from the season ending all the way up until training camp and preseason of next year. There's such a big gap that you have that you have that right there. But with like the NHL and the NBA, you really don't have quite the same gap when it comes to that. But the NFL has such a big gap. And there's really nothing going on in February that you have that entire month you can utilize where there's nothing really going on in sports. You don't got to worry about losing TV ratings. So you can push the season back. You have that luxury, and you're the NFL. You have the most wiggle room out of any sport. So I don't understand why you're not taking this more serious when you're the biggest sport we have here in America.
No, I definitely agree with that time gap. Like, use it to your advantage. I'd rather have, I don't know about you guys, but I love NFL so much. I'd rather wait for the season than have it and then lose it just like that. We don't want that. Nobody wants that. I'm sure the team's owners don't want that to save money. So let's, like Jon said, a great idea. Just ship it off to maybe, let's say, February. You don't have to worry about the NBA playoffs happening. You don't have to worry about that. It's the spotlight is going to be on you guys. So let's make this happen. Let's make this work and postpone the season, So let's do that. So we can have those 16 games we're talking about, not question 8 games, 15 games, 14. Let's just push the season out. And I think that's something there. Originally, I thought they were thinking about, but it's training camps keep ramping up, and it's looking like they're just going to fall through it. They're saying, hey, we're the NFL, and we're not going to let anything touch us.
They don't care. They just want to make money. They're not thinking. It's typical the way the NFL runs the league. Kaepernick's no good. Nobody's signing him this year. Listen, we're going to be more supportive towards the Black Lives Matter movement and social justice. All of a sudden, it's the NFL. They concussions aren't a major thing. Concussions, but we're going to have player safety. So it's just the way that they run the league. It's all about money. You can't believe what they say, and just take what they say with a grain of salt.
Yeah, definitely about money. Let's not forget they gave the players 2 to 3 weeks to decide whether they were going to opt in or opt out. Like, hey, you guys are in or you guys are out. Here's 14 days. Let us know. Oh yeah, and by the way, once you choose in, you can't go out. This is my life we're talking about. I have a family, so you got to respect those players who took everything in consideration and just opt out. So this, like we said, it sounds like a broken record right now. The NFL, the no fun league, is just all about money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's all about money, man. So
without a doubt.
You got the in or you out. That's how it is. Business.
That's the only thing I don't like is that they can't opt out. I mean, hockey, we were talking about earlier today. Tuukka Rask, he opted out. Why? Because his daughter had a problem. I think she had like emergency surgery. Things happen. If you tell an NFL player you're not allowed to opt out, well, what if something happens in his family just like that? What are you going to say? No, you can't go deal with that? You're going to really piss some people off. That's just not cool. I mean, that's not right. I get what the NFL is saying. Absolutely. They want their money. They want their players. Fine. That's all well and good. But, Jason, you just said it. This is their lives. If something were to happen, even if they opt in, are you seriously going to say, oh, no, you have to play football. Your life is not that important? I mean, that's just not right.
Exactly. It's not right. And speaking of anything can happen, forgive me, you guys, but I forget that the player for the Blazers, his mom actually just died 2 weeks ago due to COVID-19. So let's say an NFL player who chooses to opt in during that time gap, family member dies. He can't take leave for that. You guys really going to fine him from that? Like, if something like that happened, once again, Lord forbid, the NFL is definitely going to be looked at different. If someone's died this season, the NFL is going to look different, So let's knock on wood for that one, but that just shows you how it's a business, So they should push it back. Everyone's saying they should push it back. Even a few players said they should push it back. Even Odell said he don't feel comfortable playing this season, and
What's
him
the rush? What's the rush?
There's no rush. They're doing NFL. They said, hey, this is what we've been doing, and nothing's going to stop us. Yeah. But that's not how it works. So it's interesting to see.
Well, also, there's already injuries happening, which is terrible. And you're going to see a lot more of this. We talked about this basically every week. The injuries with the NFL that's going to happen. Von Miller, he's already hurt. Melvin Gordon, he's already hurt. That's 2 big names that are already, and these are like hamstrings and stuff that are tweaked.
Yeah.
But you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of poor play, especially in the first month. I see a lot of guys pull that hamstring. Maybe not as many torn ACLs. Hopefully not, because nobody wants to see injuries. But you're going to see a lot of guys pulling hamstrings and all that stuff. And that's not going to make for good NFL. Remember a couple years ago when we had that year where Joe Webb started an NFL playoff game for the Minnesota Vikings, and it was absolutely horrendous to watch because, like, that year, all the good quarterbacks basically were hurt, and it was all backups in the playoffs, it seemed. We don't want to see that, in the NFL, whether it's quarterback or whatever. We hate seeing the third strings have to come in when we want to see our guys. So we're going to see a lot of those injuries. It's unfortunate because that's these guys' careers, it's their livelihood, and that's being put at risk just so we can make sure that the NFL happens at the beginning of September.
Yeah, and I think fans will understand, just like, we're fans right now. I think more fans will understand if the season get pushed back too. Like, come on, we're in this world too. It's not just, this is only happening in NFL or this is happening through sports all over. So I think fans will understand if they push the season back. So now, as a fan, we're just going to wait and see how everything's play out. But definitely, we can expect injuries, which is unfortunate. So, that comes with the game.
It'll be something to see, and I mean, we'll see what happens. But I don't think the Giants are doing much this year. So I think me and Jake will just have to be spectators watching everybody else anyway come playoff time. So you guys do a bubble, don't do a bubble. We'll see you next year. We should be better by that point, and we'll have a shot.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can that's okay. You guys can support us 49ers while we go back to the Super Bowl this year and actually win the Super Bowl. So you guys can join that bandwagon. I send the hats out to New York. So don't worry about that.
But we do have some folks we want to thank for their music. Joe, do you want to take it away?
Definitely. So I just want to thank the AMG Sony group for some music that we're going to be using for the show. We definitely appreciate it. Mark Berry and their group, thank you guys. We appreciate it. And we definitely want to thank you guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next week. This is the first time we've done this live. I think it went pretty well. So now you can see who everybody is. The guy in the Oreo shirt has the craziest ideas, so just remember that. We just kind of tuned him out, guys.
I guess I'm like the Skip Bayless of this group.